I am a inventor primarily. Can't help myself. I've always been building things that I wanted, things that I might not have been able to afford as a child, and then it moved into inventing things that my family needed, particularly medical devices. I had a janitorial service, a carpet cleaning business. We cleaned offices and toilets and cleaned carpets. I was 30, already had 4 kids, and my wife was 28. And she developed lumps in her breasts, which scared us. So we went to a multitude of physicians trying to figure out what it was. And as it turned out, it was not cancer, but at the time, nobody could give us any real information as to what it was. I've always been a bit of a smart aleck, I guess. And finally, the last physician we went to was a surgeon. He said, well, you have children? I said, yes, we have 4. He said, you gonna have any more? And I said, no, we've both been clipped. We figured out what caused that. And he said, well, then you don't need your breasts anymore. So I recommend a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy. If you don't have any breasts, then you'll never have to worry about having breast cancer. Well, that kind of annoyed me. So I thought to myself, well, I'm only 30 years old. I might have a use for my wife. And so I asked him, I said, well, tell me, do you have children? And he said, yes, I've got 2 boys. So I asked him, I said, you gonna have any more? And he said, no, I'm not gonna have any more either. And I said, well, why don't we cut your testicles off then, and then you'll never have to worry about getting testicular cancer. And with that, this little guy stood up behind his desk and pointed to the door and said, out my office. And with that, I said, well, then I'm going to have to figure out something on my own. So between the time of working days and evenings, because when you do homes, so you have to have, it's in the evenings. So then I went to Northwestern University. I wasn't a student there. I just knew they had a good medical school. So I went to the medical school and I started researching everything I could about the human body, about the breast, about cancer. And at that time, the research wasn't on a computer. It's a long time ago. And they had a microfiche. You ran this little knob down, the slide came down and you read it, and then you turned it again on another slide, very, very slow. But I did that. And I was in and out of there for about a week or so. And finally, the head librarian points to me and she says, come here. I said, me? Yeah, you, come here. I said, okay. She said, are you a student here? I said, no. She said, well, this medical library is only for faculty and students. You're going to have to leave. That was the closest thing to my house and the best thing I could do. So I said, okay. So I left and I walked down the street to the student union. I bought a lab coat, put it on, walked back in and out for the next 3 to 6 months, did all my research, nobody bothered me. So I developed the system, and Peggy having gone through multiple mammograms, you got to go in and you get tested, and then 3 or 4 days, back then it was almost a week later, they would give you the reading. And so you're sitting there for a week wondering about everything. So I wanted to develop something that was non-invasive and that gave you the results immediately. Whilst the woman was getting dressed, the results were in. It turned out to be pretty good. It's called the GST system. I was lucky enough to sell that and get me started to where I could finance my other devices.